Well, the Montreal Canadiens, eh? Yeah, this is the third time in a row we're talking about them in today's show because, as we had been talking about the past few days, there are just so many extra things to dive into with this team. It's getting kind of ridiculous, but today, the Habs do have themselves yet another game on tap. They are playing off against the St. Louis Blues. And one of the big pieces of information we had received earlier in the week was that heading into the St. Louis game, defenseman Arber Xhekaj would enter the lineup. This was given to us yesterday on October 25th at 9 a.m. by the Montreal Canadiens Twitter account. Montembeault is also going to get the start in net. Okay, that's great. Nice to see some lineup updates with the Canadiens a day before the games actually go live. But when it comes to the Arber Xhekaj conversation, this is where things get really, really interesting. Because a lot of people have been turning to Martin St. Louis and Arber Xhekaj and talking about the, I don't want to say like relationship, but just kind of the way Marty St. Louis talks about this guy. Because it's no secret that Arber Xhekaj has had his fair share of ins and outs of the Montreal Canadiens lineup the past year and a bit. Last year, he even got sent down for a certain amount of time with the Laval Rocket. A lot of Canadiens fans understood the assignment. They knew why he was getting sent down. He was a pretty undisciplined guy last season, and he kind of needed the wake-up call, getting sent down to Laval to kind of establish that, hey, the Montreal Canadiens are not going to tolerate a careless level of play out of this guy. And so seeing him get sent down and actually light the league up on fire and then get called back up and start out the season this year, it was a process, but a lot of Canadiens fans understood why this was going on. Now, Arber Xhekaj has not been played as much, and as we've been talking about in some of the other videos in the week, he himself was apparently pretty frustrated with the way he was scratched and how he was not entering the lineup. There was an entire warning that he gave to the Rangers and Jacob Trouba because he wasn't in that game when Trouba had layeth the smackdown on Justin Barron. But now, Xhekaj is coming back into the lineup. Good story, right? Good story. But the thing is, there's a clip going around of Martin St. Louis and his response from a press conference earlier in the week in regards to a question about Arber Xhekaj and what Xhekaj needs to do to be better. This was posted by the Habs on Reddit Twitter account, and the video garnered quite the reaction. We've never heard Coach Marty sound as tough and strict talking about a Habs player during a press conference as he did talking about Arber Xhekaj yesterday. And in the clip, he goes out there and talks about what exactly he's expecting. Another tweet by Habs on Reddit gives the quote, "Coach Marty says Arber Xhekaj will be back in the Habs lineup tomorrow. When asked about what he expects out of him, I expect a better version. Staying alert, consistent. You should be worried about making some mistakes. He's not a rookie anymore. So you should say, I gotta be better. Very simple. It's not like we nitpick everything he does, but he's gotta be better. I expect Xhekaj to be a better version." Now, the thing is, you can read those quotes and kind of come to your own conclusions, right? It's easy to do that when you read things out in your own head. But if you watch the video clip, there's a sense of, I don't know, kind of like annoyance in the way that Marty St. Louis is talking about it. It's almost as if this idea of Xhekaj being better, being more consistent, was something that has been touched upon over and over again. It seems like Marty St. Louis is getting kind of tired of saying it. Now, of course, we recognize this is the first time he said it into the microphone, but you can just tell when somebody is saying something that they feel has already been said, or when they start to feel that redundancy creeping up on them, you can sense it in their language, right? Marty St. Louis responds in this video clip with a sense of annoyance that is definitely there. And as a result, we are seeing some replies that bring up some concerns. Mike Vini said this. This tweet had 48,000 views. "Look, I don't want to appear like I'm inventing a false narrative here, but something feels off about this. I get the sense that something is going on here behind the scenes because Xhekaj seems to be the only one who gets this version of Marty when Marty talks about him." Martin St. Louis is right when he says that Arber has to be better. I thought he wasn't very good in the games that he played, but many others have struggled too and weren't challenged like this publicly. Then there are some replies going out there and debating whether or not there is some sort of a bias here. Martin St. Louis really has some ill feelings towards the way Arber Xhekaj has progressed in his NHL career, whether or not there's some sort of a discontentment with the way that he's been playing. Or maybe, hear me out, nothing is going on and Xhekaj just isn't that good, a reply says. No, most of the team has been just as bad or worse. It's interesting to note that Xhekaj has been getting this sort of treatment where Martin St. Louis is very critical of him in the media, because there are other guys in the Habs that have been as bad. If you're going to single out one guy for being bad, I think it's unfair if you don't do that to the others, right? It seems like Arber Xhekaj is the only one who gets this kind of treatment. I can't agree more, Mike. JD Lagrange goes out there and replies, there is something weird in this story, and it's not new from this year. Did fame get to Xhekaj's head? Does Marty not like this kind of player? Is St. Louis capable of coaching all styles of players? Does Xhekaj have off-ice issues? I mean, it's fair. The penalties have always been an issue, and he hasn't been really having any upside this year that he normally does. It's early, yes, but they also have a ton of left-handed defensemen. This doesn't seem harsh to me. It's saying, you know, he's better, and he needs to be. Now, Mike isn't the only one that goes out there and highlights this sort of an idea. Talk Canadiens also tweeted this. If I'm a Habs player and I see the way Martin St. Louis just called out Arber Xhekaj in public like that, I'm pretty sure the locker room wouldn't like it at all. Xhekaj is the most loved player in that room. This is exactly how you lose respect in the player's eyes. Now, I won't necessarily agree 100% with this assessment, but it is an idea that's brought up here that Xhekaj is a relatively loved guy in that locker room. We know that he stands up for his teammates and everybody acknowledges that there's a lot of value he brings just with his presence alone. But Marty St. Louis very heavily criticizing Xhekaj's game in the media? Very interesting. He was asked specifically about Xhekaj, and I didn't find anything particularly harsh about his response. Arber knows he has to be better. Martin St. Louis, though, was asked about several other players, and he never did that kind of a thing to respond in those questions. Here are some other comments going out there and disputing this idea. I 100% disagree, Miles Stewart said. No accountability is what's made the Maple Leafs the laughing stock of the league. Martin St. Louis telling players they should and need to be better is what good coaches are supposed to do. And then there's another reply saying, your brain must be very... Okay, we're not going to read that. That's a little bit too on the nose and blunt there. But either way, I understand the point that this user is making, that the fact that Arber Xhekaj is getting this treatment but nobody else has, it's very peculiar. And I want to see what the YouTube audience here thinks. Is there something more than meets the eye with Arber Xhekaj and Martin St. Louis? Is there some sort of a falling out here? Has Arber Xhekaj gotten on Martin St. Louis' bad side? Just based off of the interview, which I will leave a link to in the description, I highly recommend you go out there and listen to it before you comment on this video. I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Is there something bigger in this story? Is there a bigger picture that's unbeknownst to us at face value right now? Do you think this is going to result in some sort of a trade or another move? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99 and bye.